I don't mind. I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second ever Just Chatting edition
Mm-hmm.
of the Wrestler Review. My name is Hot John Hastings, and I'm welcomed by Reasonable, if you're asking, Dylan Gott. Welcome.
Oh, hello. It was, what was it yesterday? It was -20 in Toronto, and then it went down to 0 degrees within, and it happened in 7 hours. So the world is
What are you
fine.
talking
We're
about?
not going to boil alive.
What do you mean? So it was
In the
minus
morning,
20. In the morning, it was minus 20, and
it
it
was
went
minus 20.
all the way up to zero.
So that's not like no one would be alarmed by that because those are both still cold temperatures. But what if it, you know what I mean? Like, what if it went
That's
from
a
0 to 20 in 8 hours? It
That's
was
a
literally
20
like
degree rise.
someone just fucking
Yeah.
slowly. No one
That's
complained because it wasn't like it went from like, oh, you can't go outside and the people without homes are gonna die to like, nah, it's fine. Just throw on like a pretty good coat.
Here's why America can deny climate change so much better than other countries is that
Mm-hmm.
all of their cities are super fucking weird anyway. So then the temperature being so nuts is you're just like, oh yeah, like I didn't even notice that. I was just too busy trying to figure out why the fuck the highway on ramp in my neighborhood is literally 1 yard long and has a stop sign at the top and bottom of it. Why'd you do that? Oh, we're looking to kill motorists. Oh, okay,
Yeah, I
cool.
was
Like,
wondering why the mayor turned every bank into just a cash advance place, and the cash goes right to him, and you don't get any of it. But yeah,
yeah.
sure. I guess it is hot out. Like, what else do you
Like,
want from here?
do you want to know? I live in a almost gentrified neighborhood, but I live
Almost.
almost.
You're working
Like
on that, though. You told
I
me. That.
certainly am. I just keep walking around pointing at people. You won't be here long. Although the people I'm pointing at
I
are
don't like
police
that
officers.
type of soup. That's what
Yeah.
you say.
Yeah. And I'm always pointing at just a puddle. Don't drink this soup. Don't drink this soup. And be like, it's not beef broth. I know you're thinking it's beef broth. It is in fact not beef broth. Blah, 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 blah.
Get your seasoning out of here.
But
That's what
it
John
is
says.
so close to three different types of sketchy neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Like I live close to a neighborhood that is both the name of a police scandal and a movie about a police scandal. Welcome to the Ramparts. And in the Ramparts, I noticed this only yesterday. This is how sketchy that neighborhood is. They have a bunch of storefronts that are just AA meetings that they turn the lights on when the light goes out. And that like, oh shit's getting nuts in this neighborhood. People are gonna like AA advertises in my neighborhood. Do you understand? The anonymous organization is like, we got to move anonymity. We need to let these people know they can get help for their addictions. And it's like, what? Oh, it's wild.
I've been thinking about going to AA. I mean, I haven't drank for a while, so I could say that, but also more so just for like, just to stand up and be like, yo, you guys are all fucked, and then just sit down.
Just to stand up and show them how a real fucking I have found your shares lacking flair.
There you go.
And let us begin. And who are you? I'm a veteran comedian. I think you'll find that I'm second runner-up of 2008's Cream of Comedy, you motherfuckers.
Just so you know, just based on the free coffee and donuts, this pays better than 98% of the gigs I did for the first 5 years. So let's start and do it.
You guys
My
all
wife's
seem
a bit
like
of a weird egg.
Yeah, let me tell you right now, don't love my in-laws. Or do I?
No, I come from the exact opposite. My in-laws protect me. They shield me.
Yeah, your in-laws do shield you. Your wife likes me, which I feel like is like I've befriended the Komodo dragon. You know what I mean?
It's like Joe Pesci. You never know what you're gonna get.
That's exactly right. What
Charming,
I like though, by
hilarious,
the way, is
I know pen to the jugular.
Here's the thing. I know Dylan's wife loves me. I'm not so sure how she feels about Dylan. That's the interesting. Like I feel like the marriage keeps going because she wants to continue the friendship with me. So she's like, I can't divorce this fucking. True. Yeah, it's true. Like, also Dylan
that's what my note says.
Also, here's the thing with knowing Dylan as a friend is you want him to be the person he is on the Wrestler Review, just talking about farts and cum. But what's the best is he's talking about farts and cum while being a very considerate partner in his relationship, which is the best part. Like she's like, I remember we were over there. She's making us a nice dinner, and Dylan like gets up, loudly farts, and then goes, "Excuse me for being so straight." And then they both high five.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah. Though Dylan and his wife point out how straight they are. Like it's not unnerving, but it's right before the amount of unnerving times. Like
I have to comment. I'm not gay, but on every set. That's my favorite thing is that
Oh, yeah.
that 90s comedians would do. They'd be like like I'm not gay at all, but like I like grilled cheese. And you're like, well, you didn't need to say the
I mean,
I'm not
something
gay
that
at all.
I only realized
I'm super
recently.
straight eating this fucking grilled cheese. This fucking cheese is fucking straight grilled. It's not
this,
like
this
there's
this
no
is
colors
something
in it.
that was recently. This had
I
to
only
be
eat
pointed
white
out to me.
cheese. That's
that-
what you do.
Do you remember the term metrosexual?
Yeah, just guy who bathes.
Yeah, guy who bathes.
People don't
You're
realize,
almost
like-
gay. You are almost gay.
No, it's because people started wearing pink shirts, and then
Bear-
we
bear in
got to
mind,
come
bear
up
in
with a
mind,
word for
bear in
this that
mind.
isn't just gay.
Post 9/11. 9/11, like
9/11.
Ground Zero has been cleared. It is no longer smoldering. And only then were they like, we need a term for straight men that are acting like women.
Here's what happened. Here's the chronology. Is
Basically,
everyone
white people
acts,
started acting
everyone
like an
suppresses
Italian, and
everything
everyone
they
went
like.
nuts.
Yeah,
go
everyone
ahead.
suppresses absolutely everything they like, and then two planes hit the Trade Center. They
Go
fall
ahead.
down. There's an
That's
attack on
correct.
democracy. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, is this the end of our life as we know it?" And people are like, "You know what? I do like wearing pink shirts." Then it turns out, there's not going to be an attack on here. So then are people like, "You're a metrosexual because you wore a pink shirt once." Which means it's not okay to say gay anymore, but good Lord, do I want... If you... And then it was like metrosexual and then hipster.
Oh,
People hated hipsters. Remember that?
people still do.
If you're a man with facial hair...
Oh my
if
God.
this was 2011, 6 guys with Monster Energy drink chest tattoos would be in my house right now just screaming obscenities at me.
The amount of people in 2011 I had to explain that they can't do these fucking hipster jokes because they are hipsters performing for hipsters.
Very funny.
If you recall my
That was the fun part of was people, and this was another thing. Oh, we talk about comedy so much, but this is also like old man stuff where it's like say a joke and it's like 3 guys walk into a bar, the last one is a race I don't like style, and then someone doesn't laugh, and then you're like, no, you're a fucking hipster. It's like, no, man,
okay.
that joke is 600 years old, and you're just a racist person. You could have
This is
just
the
said,
thing
I don't like Asians, and then I
This
would have
is
got the
a-
same information way quicker. You took
Exactly.
a 10-minute long detour to tell me you don't like Asians.
This is a giant result of having just been around a bunch of
Big result.
what am I going to say? English comedians. There were a bunch of English comedians
There
in
you go.
England.
Let's use one
Just ha-
specific name for it. Let's
No.
use a pseudonym.
Limey fucks.
I have a good pseudonym. Carl
Greasy
Donnelly.
Dol-
That's a good pseudonym. I
Yep,
just came up with.
no one named Carl Donnelly. I know. No, it's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
Carl Donnelly. No, but there was. Britain is way obsessed with the quote unquote culture war. Blah 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 blah. And one thing that really drove me crazy, and it took me
Because
so long to
Britain
figure
gets
out.
things 4 years ago. Continue.
Exactly. Yeah. Bear in mind, Britain is preparing to elect Donald Trump now, and they did Brexit 5 years ago. Like that's how insane it is.
Mhm.
Dylan, by the way, is just staring at a giant photo of his own penis. For those of you watching the video on Patreon, he was like all the way from the shaft all the way to the top. Perfect. Painting picture's perfect. And that is, people are like, oh, you can't say anything on stage anymore. I'm like, I remember and I think I've said this on multiple episodes, but I keep just having new memories of things I was told I couldn't say on stand-up comedy club stages. One of them, for example, was I was told as the host, you're not allowed to ever do any material. You have to make it all up from scratch. And that was told. I later
Really?
found out that was told to me by a club owner named Jimbo. And he then yelled at me 1 year later, being like, why don't you do material when you're hosting? And I said, you told me not to. And then he said, I was probably blacked out. I give weird advice when I'm blacked out. Weird. That's number one.
I don't know if anyone here is just starting in stand-up comedy.
Oh, you missed it. You missed the best time to start in stand-up comedy, which was the aughts, because that was when stand-up comedy was not cool. And so the club owners were the worst type of people because they're
Well, I
all
was just
dead
gonna
now. All
say
those
that-
club owners are dead. They
Natural
died
causes.
of cirrhosis of the liver is natural if you drink that much.
Well, I was just gonna say the key thing to remember, which would have helped me out. No one told me this when I started comedy, but if someone books a comedy show, there is an over 50% chance they have Asperger's. Don't take anything personally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which
I
is,
mean,
like,
and actually,
that just is what it is. That's a good way to frame. We're like, why was that person so? Asperger's.
also, I actually think it's 50% some sort of undiagnosed neurodiversity, and then 50% wild, unchecked clinical narcissism. And if you're really lucky, one from Camp A co-owns a club with someone from Camp B, and then you just live in hell. You live in hell. And by the way, if it is a Camp 1 working with a Camp 2, Camp 2 always has a cocaine problem. Camp 1 does not know how to identify someone with a cocaine problem. For example, I was working in London, Ontario. Everyone involved in the story is dead but me.
Oh.
And the owner co-owned the club with her husband. And I remember she's like, this club has like a weird fungus because every time my husband comes here, he immediately goes to the bathroom. And I like watched him go to the bathroom and then come out. And I was like, he is not shitting. And there's no fungus that makes you just do cocaine in the bathroom. But that is what is happening, madam. Madam, that is what is happening.
Refreshing.
Oh, yeah. So also, hilariously, if you want to shit, stepped on Ontario cocaine is the way to do it, I've been told, in Dylan's journal.
I really want to get like a old guy who doesn't care about wrestling, who just was like, whatever, I'll say whatever on here, just to be like, is every wrestling promoter under the same guidelines? Also, the third type of promoter, and I think this might go across every entertainment platform, which is person who was bad at the thing they promote, so they want to get revenge on everyone that's good at the thing they promote. So they make you like really, really work for it when it's like just an okay show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's also that thing of the ever elusive, you don't know what else I got on offer. That's my favorite type of promoter. You get that like, oh, you can do this, but then if you do really well, you
just put in your time.
You can get the other thing.
The other thing.
Yeah.
I promote on the moon.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. And the reason why we're talking about promoters and people being screwed is failed promoters is, ladies and gentlemen, Dylan and I have been thinking a lot about your friend and mine, Paul Conan the Lemmy Motorhead Levesque.
So here's the thing: is that I think that's my number one kind of like ultra nerdy wrestler dream scenario in pro wrestling right now is somehow Triple H cashes out of WWE with his stock and just goes, I bought the NWA, and then just I can stop watching.
I gotta tell you, I don't.
And he's like,
think
Aristlock is a high spot now, and Jim Cornette grows to 8 feet tall.
Oh
and
my
just
God!
Goes, and just comes for a whole year.
Here's the scenario in which I think I envision this happening. Mm-hmm. WWE is sold to Comcast or Disney. It's all but been confirmed that is what is going to happen.
Comcast runs Peacock, right?
Comcast is NBC,
yeah.
so it's NBC or it's Disney.
Yeah. So this is according to another. What the hell is that podcast called? It's Sundays.
WTF with Mark Maron, I think.
It's called the
Is
Ezra
it called the
Klein
Guardian
Show?
It's called the Ezra Klein. Such an unnecessarily Canadian. For those of you who don't know who Ezra Klein is, like, imagine if Steve Bannon was like a really nerdy, shitty.
Yeah,
like,
it's like a Canadian racist.
Marketing.
So you just,
oh my God.
I mean, it's Canadian everything, which is you just suck all of the charisma and like uniqueness out of an American thing and just the viewpoints. So it's just a guy calmly going like, no, there are two genders and one of them is men and the other one's men. It's men twice.
Everyone, hello, my name is Ezra Klein. My first media move was to create a media empire based around people that are baby boomers. As it turned out, that is not a profitable area somehow. So I moved to something that they would like.
I made an
overt fascism. Yeah.
Okay, so no, I want
to.
I want to do it. WrestleNomics is the name of the podcast, and what they did is they had
are you telling me they combine economics and wrestling? God damn.
Well, they just look at different metrics, which I think is really helpful. Like one of the really smart things they do is they don't go by ratings; they just go by YouTube views within the first 2 days for a video, and then that's how they tell how over an angle is. And they only do within the first 2 days. So I think like 1.8 million people saw Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns' face-off from last week. Just little things like that. Anyway, they reported...
Ladies and gentlemen, I am now downloading the WrestleNomics podcast. The fact, and I mean this, that there is a podcast about the economics of wrestling. Heaven is on earth, and we are all in heaven.
Well, it's the golden age.
Yes, we have a pandemic to deal with, but if that is just another excuse to stay inside and listen to more wrestling-centric podcasts, ladies and gentlemen, when we get, and I'll make it myself, a podcast dedicated solely to the career of Coco Beware, that's the day we all know we can suck our own dicks. The only two things that need to happen now for this to be the perfect existence, the perfect plane for my spirit, a daily podcast dedicated to Coco Beware, a daily podcast hosted by Arn Anderson where he just updates you on what cup he's drinking wine out of. Everyone can suck their own dick who listens to the rest of the review.
Oh, I'll give you one better, John. This is the greatest.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Gott.
And somehow, well, the guy's not very good at editing, but somehow this only has 3,000 views. I mean, not somehow, but just given how many like super nerds there are about wrestling, I'm so surprised this isn't wildly successful. There is a man who he only has 6, but he said he's going to start the channel back up again. 6 videos on 20-minute videos, very like well edited, well researched, not well edited, but well researched on just the life and times of certain jobbers. Like this is 20 minutes on Mario Mancini. This is 20 minutes on Dwayne Gill.
Yeah.
I want to get this dude's name actually out there because his apartment, the video where he says he's coming back, I'm not making this up. It's a pretty big apartment. There is no furniture in it.
No.
There is one, I don't know what. It's either like It's either
send me the link. We have the ability because we're only releasing this on Patreon. We can bring up that video and watch it, and they can watch it. Well,
no, because then he'll get a thing that like, oh, these guys looked at your thing, and then
no, he won't.
Yeah, he will. No, because that's what happened. There's been a couple other problems we had where we watched promos and then someone gets a copyright claim on it.
Oh, fucking. What a bunch of dorks. So
we can't directly make fun of this man, but I will.
I don't want to directly make fun of him, but I want to, yeah.
No, I mean, we will, because his apartment's insane. His apartment's like the ultimate, which is, I always use this reference. It's the first season of True Detective, but he has no case to solve. He's just a guy
I got news for you.
With no...
I lived in that apartment. So I've had a lot of people sublet my apartment, and up until about November, no, what am I talking about? January of 2021 is when I started like buying furniture for my apartment. Like up until January 20, my TV was just.
John also looked insane.
Oh, I looked so crazy. I got
not as crazy as this guy's apartment.
I was pretty
John
close.
Had a smaller space.
Yeah, that was the only thing. And now
John
there's
was like
stuff
you
in my
sit on
apartment.
the floor and you watch the Judas Priest poster. I don't know
exactly
what you're talking
Wait,
about.
You want to watch TV? Why? That'll interrupt all the thinking you need to do.
Okay, so I will. It's called World Renowned Sports. Is there a way I can? Is there a way I can just straight up share it on the screen?
Yeah, that's what I was about to do. If you send me the link, I can share it on the screen.
Dope. All right, I'm sending it in the chat right now.
Okay.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. World Renowned Sports. All right, there's a guy's YouTube channel. Now I want you to watch that first video.
The regarding the
we
Jobber
don't even need
Chronicles?
To. Yes, but the Jobber Chronicles are great. But all you need to do is you don't need to listen to content because the guy's great.
No.
He's clearly a nice man, but his apartment is the stuff of nightmares. Not because people always give shade to people whose apartments are very dirty. That's actually lived in, and I'm like, okay, well, this person lives here. It looks like this guy came home from work once. There you go. See, I don't know what that American flag is covering. Yeah, it might be a dead body.
I'm going to say it's a radiator or no.
It's also an unflattering screen cap of this man, too.
I'm going to say this.
Say it.
That's a keyboard. That man's keyboard
that's pretty sick.
In fucking Nam, bitch.
That's pretty sick. You come on stage with a keyboard, rip the American flag off,
First
and then
of all,
you just
everyone go watch these man's videos. I'm sorry for this unflattering screen cap. The other thing I want to point out, you want to know why that's a clean fucking apartment? Guess what he's got right fucking there, Dylan? Look at that. He's got a fucking Roomba in the corner.
Ooh, yeah. This guy has
a lot of water, staying hydrated. What seems to be some, I don't know what's up there. Let's get a little bit closer, can we? We cannot.
You can zoom in on this man's place.
I thought I was going to, but I cannot for some reason.
World Renowned Sports, Jobber Chronicles.
Goddamn yes,
he's a good man.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there goes my productivity for today.
I mean, you could
Um,
watch the whole thing in an hour and 20 minutes, which I'm sure he would
yeah,
love.
but I assume, but I'll be pausing so often to be like, SD Jones, you talked about SD motherfucking Jones for
Apparently,
20
SD
minutes.
Jones was like a dude, and then he just like Vince McMahon paid him a ton of money and was like, "Here's the deal: we can't have any of you people winning on WrestleMania.
Yeah,
We
you
already
mean
got
black
one of you
people? And
winning
he's
at
like,
the end."
no, people that are above the height of 5'7". I don't see color. I only see height.
But this guy's got Quick Draw McGraw, of course, Dwayne Gill, Reno Riggins. He's got everybody. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, Triple H. Triple H. I was thinking about this. He buys the NWA, but then it's weird because he'd have to
No,
like
okay, I've been thinking about this too. You are right. Here
he'd have
is
to
the
come out as
dream
Paul
scenario.
Levesque.
No, he doesn't. He can come out as Terror Rising.
I'm back to terrorizing.
I got news for you. If he came out, if he, if you heard, if you saw, if they fucking showed the placard, Terra Rising is all elite, right? That every fan would be like, what the fuck is about to happen? And it will never happen. But him going to the NWA would be amazing. It could absolutely happen because Billy Corgan would 100% be like, yeah, you can buy into this company a little bit. Also, I guarantee if Triple H comes, Shawn Michaels comes. And because those are the two big NWA marquee boys that are still in NXT because everyone else has been fired. Like, bear in mind.
No, I
like,
think Triple H has a new job title, so he's not even really in NXT, and I don't know.
he's definitely not in NXT. Like, apparently he's basically just sat in New Hampshire. Like, every member of the clique
Well, yeah, he had a heart attack or a heart
on their
event, like.
on their podcasts are all like, I don't know why he's still working there, which makes me believe like he's being like, I don't know why I'm still working here.
He has stock and he's related to the owner.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things where I think that his new job title, whatever it says, what it means is guy who doesn't come to the office anymore because he doesn't work here. Like, if you think that Vince McMahon,
It is so much like Succession with steroids. It is literally like
it's stupid Succession. Well,
yeah,
it's like
but
Succession,
it's literally
but
like
stupid.
Tom, Shiv, and oh my god,
Go
how
ahead,
the fuck,
Roman.
Kendall. No
Kendall.
Roman. There's no Roman.
Yeah, but
There's no Roman.
weirdly,
There's no Greg.
Shane,
Oh,
but
Greg
like,
is Kevin Dunn, I guess. But
Yeah,
like,
Greg is
all
Kevin
you have
Dunn.
is
No.
Tom, Shiv, and Kendall. That's it.
Yeah, and Jim Cornette is that woman who spat cum in Tom's mouth.
Yeah, that's who Jim Cornette is.
No, okay. But here's the thing that everyone's like, well, he has to stay. He's like, Vince's own son has left twice because he's like, I can't fucking work for this guy.
Well, and he's never gonna leave.
Vince, no, you like bear in mind, Shane was supposed to get like the CEO job, and Vince would be the chairman, and then Vince was like, no, I'm CEO too, and they're like, oh, for fuck's sake, okay. But that's what's it gonna be. Like, it's just so weird. We're missing. There's something happened that caused this. I know that you're saying it's a rights fee thing, but it's on. There's a
NXT
level.
failed. NXT didn't do what Vince wanted
But
him
NXT
to do,
didn't
which was
fail. I don't understand. Okay, when you say NXT failed, what do you mean, you little fucking bitch? That's you.
Vince
I'm talking
McMahon
to you.
wanted NXT to neutralize AEW, and it didn't. I mean, that's what it feels like.
Okay, I see. Okay, actually, you know what? I fucking hate that I'm about to
When the
completely agree with
entire
you.
reason that NXT was
See,
popular
it's
in the first
popular.
place was because, and it was brilliant on the WWE's part, which was they had the alternative under their own roof.
Yes.
But it's just the problem, which is what Vince for sure always wanted, was I own the alternative. It's on a lower tier, and then when these dudes come up to the main roster, I job them out for a month to really get across the fact that this is just a fucking different league, and they don't come in with heat because this is like you're going from AAA to the big leagues, buddy. Like, you can't fucking just win. So
I agree with everything you're saying. If it's positioned that way, I just still think that it's just a level of fucking vindictive. Like, it just, and because it's also doing it while he had a heart attack. I don't know. I'm like, fuck.
well, it's weird, and it's also like seems like it's shooting yourself in the foot. Like, you could have totally just like still had NXT, even if you don't like NXT for what it is. Like, and I think being a super capitalist like Vince is, like, I think like the Saudi deal did a ton of damage where it's like, oh, I can't even start liking this shit again because this guy's like fundamentally evil. Like Dave, not evil, but like amoral. Like Dave Meltzer said it the best, where it's like someone asked, "Do you think Vince McMahon would work with the Nazis?" And he's like, "Yes, of course he would have worked with
course
the
he would.
Nazis. Like,
Yeah.
he wouldn't even have thought twice about it." He
I
would've
mean,
been like,
you'd
"They
have
want
to
mo-
let the
they're gonna
Nazis
give me
know
money."
that you have to let the Nazis know that they're working with an amoral individual. Like, do you understand? Like,
You'd have to be like, "You don't know who you're getting to bed with here, Hitler."
yeah, Vince, you're working with the Nazis. Well, don't tell them who I am. Like, do you understand?
This guy's gonna figure out a way to pin you during one of your speeches.
Like, I guarantee Vince was calling the Taliban. Oh yeah, we'll do tribute for
as
your
soon
troops.
as Afghanistan's
A second, like that.
Afghanistan fell.
We'll do 8 members of the Spirit Squad on a plane. I don't understand what I'm watching. Like that like he's stupid Logan. You know what I mean? Like he's just everything about him is dumb. But he's like
But he controls an entire industry.
That's the thing. Is he basically was just I don't know. It's just so crazy.
Well, that's the most eye-opening thing about this thing I was talking about WrestleNomics is
go
like,
back to this point.
top 10 YouTube videos watched within the first 2 days. Like we all think, oh, AEW's on the come up. It's like if they have like a huge angle, they'll have one. And
They'll have one big YouTube-
the other 9 top watched YouTube videos for the week are like The Miz asks if he can take a shit in the bathroom, and Maurice says fine. Like that does better than like CM Punk versus Kenny Omega.
Well, this is part of it. Is I also think that a lot of it is the WWE's audience is not like what we think of as wrestling fans. Like they're fucking
Yeah, they're
kids
and
they're kids and parents, and it's very much just the. How
Well,
do I
and
say
it's
this?
like it's a changing in the dynamics of wrestling. Like you could see by the way all these companies, even below, if you look below the guys, the really well-funded companies like WWE and AEW, it's like clearly MLW, which I just started watching a bit of, is like, okay, well, all these guys need to be jacked because no one else is just using jacked guys for some reason. AEW is much more like modern, where it's like, you like this thing, so we're just going to go keep on giving the people who like this thing what they want and then hope to grow that way. And WWE is still in the model of, we want our world champion to be like a dude who can panel on a talk show. And yeah, this guy can't, like, he's not a real fighter, but he's intimidating. Like,
Yeah.
like Roman Reigns, you put him on a talk show and it's like, oh, that's a pro wrestler. You put, I mean, even Kenny Omega, you put him on a talk show, it's like, yeah, that's an athlete. But like, you put CM Punk on a talk show and it's like, oh, this guy's a fighter. He's not in a band.
Yeah, that's
and the difference between that and the UFC is like, you put Conor McGregor on a talk show. Like I saw Conor McGregor, Conan O'Brien, and Conan O'Brien like is twice the size of this dude. But the thing is, Conor McGregor can actually fight people, and everyone knows that.
Yeah,
So
but again, but to your point of the metaphor is it's also the way fighting has been presented is really changed fundamentally in that no longer is it. And this is sort of true with anything, is you can't tell based off of a look. There used to be a look to a musician, a look to a comedian, a look to an actor. You know what I mean? Like, not so much actor, but everything else. Well, wrestling and all of those things are kind of like you have to be told who they are now. I kind of disagree with your point of, like, you've lost that ability for that split second marketing, but at the same time, like
we've said this before on the show, but it is true. It's like, if you roll back the calendar, it's like 30 years now. Me and you are like Saturday morning jobbers. But like, if we just took a couple fucking vitamins and said our prayers a bit Hogan style and did some juicy juice, we're like the Road Warriors now.
Oh, now? Oh my God. I remember being at StarCast when we were filming a trailer for the Edinburgh show I do with Colt Cabana. And I remember realizing that I was bigger. I was bigger than a bunch of the legends of wrestling, and that was the first time I realized, they lie about their height. Fuck.
Of course they do.
Oh, like, but second of all, all the wrestlers were looking at me like, clearly this is a wrestler, because I was with another wrestler. Like, it wouldn't be, the comedians don't look like that. And it's like, well, no, and wrestlers don't look like me anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
it would be so funny to see like Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond go eye to eye with the Big Show or whatever.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it'd be funnier to see him go eye to eye with the
Ryan
Undertaker.
Styles has choke slammed Adam Page.
Well, the best example is how was Joey Styles able to beat up Bradshaw? Bradshaw doesn't actually know how to fight. That's how Joey Styles. Like the other thing that, like, you know what I mean? Joey Styles is just he's a small, very Christian right-wing man from Long Island. You don't think he gets up to weird shit?
Joey Styles goes to punk concerts and just manages to be in there long enough to and never actually hear the music. He just wants to punch some teens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Joey Styles refers to his son as Joseph. Do you think that man hasn't just? This is Joey Styles.
Oh my God, gay is a choice. Why can't
Yeah.
that be my catchphrase, Paul?
Welcome everyone to ECW. Joey Styles, first day on the book. First match is all the ECW wrestlers beat up a woman who says she's pro-choice at the ECW arena.
No one will accept my stipulation, which was if the Sandman wins, abortions are banned.
It's a Roe versus Wade match.
The way it should have happened in the ECW
In
arena.
the ECW arena, Kimono Wanalemi is just killed for not being white. Joey Styles does not dog whistle anymore. Joey Styles.
It is funny because you're like, oh, ECW was so like forward thinking for wrestling. How could he be? And then you think about what it was like, what did they really make up? Like, well, you could hit a chick and be a fucking babyface.
Yeah,
that happened every show.
First of all,
Every single show.
excuse me, Dylan. I will. You could hit in any wrestling organization up until even true now. You could hit a woman and be a babyface. Here's the difference: in ECW, you could cut a woman's face and still be a babyface. That's the important distinction. WCW, WWE. Oh, you could punch a woman. Here in Philadelphia's ECW, you can cut her with a knife, and you will get a standing ovation. Would you like a standing ovation, sir?
Oh, we should talk about this. Well, the next one is Braun Steiner. What do you think of Braun Breaker? Have you had a chance to watch any Braun Breaker?
I have not had a chance to watch any Braun Breaker whatsoever.
Just look at a picture of Braun Breaker. You know what? I'll talk for a bit.
I did look at a picture of Braun
You can
Breaker.
get everything about Braun Breaker pretty much within the first, 2 minutes of seeing Braun Breaker. Here's what Braun Breaker is. Literally, Braun Breaker is if you were to cherry pick your favorite things about each Steiner brother.
Yeah,
like
this
he's
is the
young
thing.
Rick Steiner, and he already gives the promos of Scott Steiner. This guy is going to be this guy's at the same time Vince McMahon's dream and his nightmare, because he's guaranteed just going to do some weird 80s thing.
He's gonna be like, "What? I stuck it in Liv Morgan's dressing room and covered her in my shit. That's fun. That's fun. That's a prank. My dad taught me."
Welcome to fucking use the man.
Yeah, there you go.
What are you reading, Braun? Oh, that's a note my Uncle Scott wrote me when I joined the business. How did he write that out? No, here's what I want to say about Braun Breaker. Is I didn't realize how new to the business he is. Like, you look at him and you're like, oh, well, this is a guy that his dad and his uncle have been training him since he was 11. And it's like, no, he was in a fraternity and then they wouldn't let him do HGH and be an accountant. So now he does this. It's just like Braun Breaker is like that what the problem with Braun Breaker for me is that he proves Vince McMahon right in the way that Brock Lesnar proves Vince McMahon right is, no, you don't need to go to the independents to find your next guy. You just need to wait, and every 20 years you'll find one. You'll get one.
Well, yeah, just be the biggest dude on the block. I mean, Gable Stevenson, same thing. This is this class of people. But I mean, who's that dude that can't? Parker Bordeaux, who I would just always see him on my Instagram feed because he looks like Brock Lesnar or whatever. But he's this big dude. I don't know. His he could have just been Parker Bordeaux, but now they've made him Harlow, and he's this I don't know what the character is, but he's a Silence of the Lambs style guy.
That's cool. That's pretty fucking
But
cool.
he's protecting woke Joe Gacy, who's just supposed to be an annoying woke guy, which is why'd you just... And they love those fucking, guaranteed Braun Breaker comes to Raw and is just Breaker.
100%. Also, what is with Vince McMahon's obsession with the name Braun Bray?
Yeah, he really likes his bees, but
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, like, this dude's name is Braun Breaker, and then I watch his Ciampa match, and he finishes him. The finishing sequence is a
Is that I
Yeah.
listened because
bulldog
basically
and Steiner recliner.
the
And he
week
does
we're recording this is
suplexes.
every wrestling podcast was just talking about this match. I didn't watch it because I'm like I can't. I know how it ends, but they literally ends with he does every move the Steiner brothers or a individual Steiner ever. Like it's literally like bulldog into a Steiner recliner into a Frankensteiner. And then he followed it up by pointing at a bunch of women in the front row and being like, "Jizz on, jizz in, jizz near." And then they're like, "Oh my god, it's the Steiner Symphony." Yeah, but again, why not call him Braun Steiner? But it's also the weird thing of Vince McMahon will make a million the new blank tag teams. Will never ever let the son of a wrestler use his name. And I think this is why Cody Rhodes caused a bunch of lawsuits over his name. So they're just going, we just won't do it. Then you can keep your name. We'll give you your own one. Also, it's, I think, because all of the names are worked out so you can chant them. Braun Breaker. Because it's from when Edge got really over and they couldn't figure out a chant for the fans to do for him. So they would try and get Let's Go Edge going.
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman. Daniel Bryan.
Oh,
like
Daniel Bryan was just so they could own it, like, for sure. They just flipped his name.
Yeah.
Unless
I know,
it
but
was Danielson Bryan. That'd be fun.
Oh my god. I wish he was when he was the Eco Warrior Daniel Bryan. He should have
with the
been
wooden
Danielson
belt? That was
Bryan.
great. What was so do you think Braun Breaker, like, he does prove him right, and this is why I think the NXT 2.0 is a good thing, where it's like,
I don't think it's a good thing, Dylan. It's one as okay,
if I was
they've
USA,
got
I'd be fucking pissed because they're literally like, well, now they have like older wrestlers from Raw coming down to like help out these younger guys, but I'd be pissed where it's like I paid for like this super indie that like people are so excited for, and now I'm getting a studio wrestling show with guys who are like jacked, but clearly everyone there is just learning to wrestle.
Yeah, but this is the thing is that I guarantee the USA executive, like was it you that was telling me like how Tony Khan got the show on TNT was he just was like, hey,
So everyone gets everything, yeah.
Hey, you know that you used to have wrestling on your network, and they were like, go what? Like I guarantee
there's no substitute for access.
I guarantee the USA Network is not watching the content. They're literally going, is there something on our channel at that time? And is that something yielding a good enough rating to justify the ad revenue we're charging for it? Great. We don't give a fuck. Like, if Vince McMahon could figure out a way to fill 7 hours of television a week with just him silently eating a beef wrap, guess who's fired? Everyone but Kevin Dunn. Kevin, hit the lights, turn the camera on.
Yeah, you make the beef wrap.
Yeah, and then make my sandwich.
And there you go.
Hey,
you wrap some beef around your
wrap some
booty
beef around my mouth. What was the third topic we wanted? Let me also say this
Lesnar,
about
because we already kind of did it again, but Lesnar being the champ again. What do you think about that?
I gotta tell you, I like it only for no other reason than Brock Lesnar has gone from crew cut, I am here to be MAGA, to guy who looked like he got arrested on January 6th. That's the Harry grew in jail. Like, I just gotta like, I mean, that it's also Brock Lesnar has gone from like he's a crazy fighting guy to it's literally like this guy who doesn't want to be here. We're making him be here still. And
yeah, it really does look like he's trying out some new looks because he's scared of the coronavirus, and someone asked him to leave his house, and he didn't have enough time to change. You know what I mean? Where it's like, because this is like it's a funny thing to be like a dude who lives on a farm, like dressed exactly like a rural guy, but also you have like a fucking dope ass man bun. I think it adds like a lot of depth to his character. Of course, it's the same old shit where it's like you're literally doing Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar for like the 8th time. Only this time are you kind of getting it right, where their characters are good, but also with characters like this and these characters at the top of your show, like one of the best things about the Rock and Austin era that no one really talks about is both of those characters. You didn't have to sacrifice anyone for them to be the top of your show. Like, The Rock lost so many matches.
Oh my God.
Austin was always great at selling that this dude was going to beat him until he'd cyborg up stunners quick. Like, versus Strowman, Lesnar and Reigns, you spend all this time building these dudes up as credible challengers, and then, Roman beats them 3 times, Brock beats them twice. They're back down in the fucking mid card.
Well, yeah, and it's part of that problem is it's like they basically to get Roman Reigns to be accepted by the fan base, they had to turn him heel and give him Paul Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
And to get the WWE fans to accept Brock Lesnar after they brought him back in to beat him, they had to have him beat everyone and give him Paul Heyman. So basically the WWE strategy for creating talent was, well, they'll start in NXT. They'll slowly adapt their indie character into something for the WWE universe. We're actually building to be more of a work rate centric federation, because that's kind of where things are going with the rise of combat sports anywhere. Is sports fans in general, wrestling fans in specifics, are really part of the nerdy culture that circles around our sport. So we're going to embrace that by making interesting entrances that lead to very exciting matches. And then the WWE heard that and was like, that's good. Instead of doing any of that, we're just going to have Brock Lesnar just eat those people for 5 to 10 years. And then at the end of that, I don't know. Fuck you. Like, it's basically that. Like, it's just
like, just even the way they do first things, like fucking the first promo.
But like the path, like there's no sort of path to the top, because the path to the top is basically, you want to get to the top of the WWE, basically you are the US champion for 2 years, disrespected by the Miz, you might get a main event run, then you go to AEW for 3 years and come back. Like, what no one has talked about yet is in 3 to 4 years, when people are really pissed off with the Young Bucks and people start leaving AEW to go back to the WWE, that's when things are going to get very interesting.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how those guys age. I mean, there's all indications are that Kenny Omega's literally just going to do their Twitch channel after his career. Like, he's just going to be their video game division, which they are taking very, very seriously, which does fall into that lane of, like, these guys are like what everyone's thought for, 10 years is wrestling's a weird internet thing, not like people like wrestling because they like wrestling. If you try and please everyone, you're going to please no one, that whole thing. Whereas, like, fucking give these fucking old losers what they want. But more so, it's like Lesnar does this big promo against Bobby Lashley, where it's like people have been wanting this fucking Lesnar-Lashley match for a million years. They're finally getting it, and the first promo is Lesnar going like, "You're a bitch, you always been a bitch, don't know who the fuck you are," rather than just going out, and it's so cornet of me to say this, but going out being like, "Yeah, you were always fighting in a different organization than me when we were in MMA.
Well, but
you're always
this
fighting
is
in a
also the
different
thing
organization than me when we're in wrestling. Like, finally, we get to fight."
But this is why you need Brock to be with Heyman. Is Heyman would have 100% done that?
He is
But
with Heyman.
Brock. Oh, I thought Heyman isn't with Brock right now.
No, he's with Brock again. Yeah.
But then how was
Just
he
Brock
with
does
Reigns?
all the talking.
What?
You haven't seen Brock Lesnar on the mic? He's great now. He's
No, he
fucking
isn't.
Great. Yeah, he's great.
How did that happen?
Because they were just like, because Brock Lesnar's character used to be this unstoppable
I can't.
murderer.
Here's the reason. It's since like I just can't. The WWE product. It's just I try and watch it. It's just I don't care. Like, it's one of
Yeah,
those
of
things
course.
where
they're
it's,
doing the
I
same
want.
thing over and over again. But
I
that's when they
know.
do little things that are good, like Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, like turning
Tribal Chief
Lesnar
Roman
babyface, but literally going out there and just being like, "Yo, just go be a fucking Brock Lesnar at this guy."
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you think that Brock Lesnar keeps pitching, "Hey, can my entrance video just be the audio and visuals of the January 6th, what he calls Freedom March?"
I think Brock Lesnar wants his theme song to just be tips on how to make a good garden.
Yeah. He can my theme Brock Lesnar this
I'm
era
only
of
doing
Brock
this for
Lesnar-
my YouTube channel, Gardening with Broccolini. Broccolini's a pun on my name. I think it's
Yeah.
cute, and so does Rena.
Yeah, Rena, by the way, gave me in the COVID pandemic lockdown. I took it a bit badly and may or may not have walked into the woods naked, came back only after I fucked a deer to death. And my wife said that's cheating. So now I grow my hair long and I'm a vegan. Vegans still can eat beef, right?
I'm a vegan except for testosterone replacement therapy and a bunch of other needles I don't question and just put in.
Yeah, sometimes you guys may not know this about me, but I've in fact done so much steroids. I don't have a brain anymore. It's actually another penis in my skull.
Steroids or not, baby, He's looking good, but that's so funny. Like, I don't know, man. When it's like
But-
when you're looking at Brock Lesnar, you're like, oh, this guy could actually beat the shit out of these people, though. It's a weird jar.
Yeah,
anyway.
but this is the weird thing that's also crazy about Brock Lesnar is it's like it feels like he went back in 2016 to the UFC and was like, I want to do that. But to get into that ring, he had to do so many steroids. And now they're like, we can't bring you back in because of Mark Hunt lawsuit. And, because you did a bunch of steroids. And so now he's just like, all right, I'll be Uncle Prepper in the WWE. Like, that's just, you know what I mean? And yes, I am sorry for not watching more Brock Lesnar in anticipation for this episode. I don't want to watch fucking WWE anymore.
Well, just that whole thing of like that's why I like AEW's wins and losses. It actually like has consequences, and obviously stories only work with consequences built into them. And WWE, not obviously no other company other than AEW's had wins and losses, but like it's very clear that there's no consequences for anything in WWE. Like guy wins the title, guy doesn't. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Like
I
Mr.
do.
Perfect never won the world title, and like how many times a world champion like is fucking The Miz. Not that The Miz isn't great. You know what I mean? Just these guys who are clearly in the middle of the card. Like that's when you list off all the accomplishments Chris Jericho had, where it's like, yeah, he was the united champion of like WCW and WWE at the same time, but he wasn't at the top of the card ever.
Yeah,
Like,
and
the
he
only
was
time he was at the top of the card
and
was
that's
when he was
considered
Evil Man.
and that was considered, by the way, one of the weakest runs ever. Like I remember when that happened,
course.
and the fans' reaction was like, and then what happened?
Because he never won by doing his finishing move to anybody. He literally was like, the dude beats the shit out of him. Vince McMahon
Yeah.
shoots them with a gun, his opponent, and then Chris Jericho's been knocked unconscious for the entire last half of the match. 10 whole minutes he was unconscious because someone Russian leg sweeped him. Vince McMahon pulls him on top. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3. Chris Jericho's still the champ.
Yeah,
They never
that's
booked him like a champ.
No. Well, it's also that they kind of don't. I've been drinking a lot more water in my life, which means I
Ooh.
suddenly have to violently piss.
Oh, yeah, don't
So-
worry. I'm going to go get a drink, too. Yeah, let's go.
Here's my question for you, Dylan. Is
Oh.
TNA Impact like the greatest story of perseverance in professional wrestling ever?
It's the greatest story of finding new whales. Like they always say, a whale is someone that goes into a
Oh,
casino with just a ton of fucking money to lose.
Yeah, it's a
'cause,
money
like, who
mark.
gives
They're the
a fuck?
best. We don't make wrestling. What is your company's purpose? Oh, we find rich people and we get their money. How do you
Dude,
do
I
that?
got I was on Impact Wrestling Switch a couple times. That paid money. They paid you money to be like, anniversary rules.
Mhm.
It's great.
King of the Mountain match. That's how you fucking wrestle.
Well, they also
bitch.
own a television channel in Canada. So like obviously you owning your own wrestling promotion, you can just create a bunch of fucking content. And wrestling, once again, as far as like the disposable world goes of entertainment that we live in now, is great for content because it looks great. All you need is some cameras and some lights, and you pay people to come in and like Impact when
I gotta
they
tell
were,
you-
like, relaunching you were paid as an extra to watch their pay-per-views because they wanted it to look good, and they were like, product's kind of shitty right now, or like no one really knows and all these guys aren't established yet, so let's just pay people and tell them to cheer.
Well, they did that, and then in COVID, when they had no audience, they just went and paid a shitload of money for a really good applause box,
Yeah.
and they got good crowd reaction, so it just looked good in short clips. Also, here's my question: where is Damian Sandow? Is he still in Impact?
He's in the NWA. He's the fucking he was a national North American champ for a long time, but now he's in the NWA. He's great.
Okay, good. I was just like, remember there.
Sandow. These people are all in wrestling, but it's like, I mean,
It's
I
that
don't
weird
know.
thing of wrestling is kind of done what stand-up comedy's done, where you're like, hey, whatever happened to this guy? And they're like, oh, that person's really successful. And you're like, what? And you're like, yeah, they're just not.
If you're watching their weird thing,
Yeah.
if you click on their profile once and then the algorithm starts recommending it to you, then you're dialed in again. But you're like, oh fuck, what's that guy up to? Yeah, Impact's doing great. They had their last pay-per-view, Hard to Kill, apparently was great. They did a Ring of Honor did an Invasion, even though it's like a pared down version of what Ring of Honor is.
Yeah.
But like, dude, I mean, like them and ROH and Impact doing like a invasion thing. I think people got a lot of time for that, and especially like I don't know, Impact their roster is pretty good still. I mean, this is what I want to talk about. I don't know who the third best wrestling promotion in North America is because there's
It's
Impact,
me.
MLW, and the NWA. And before the pandemic, it would have been NWA with a bullet.
Yeah.
But then like AEW gave all their best people some money, and now they're on AEW.
Yeah, it's MLW is the most interesting thing where it's like, how did this become the fifth biggest promotion in America? And it's kind of like, just didn't go anywhere really. Like
Court
it's
Bauer, man, you listen to that guy talk. I used to listen to his podcast, and he's like, he reminds you of like every weird dude who's just good at talking and getting money out of people.
Yeah.
Like one of the title sponsors of MLW is Stephen P. New, who I don't listen to Cornette, but used to be the lawyer who sponsored.
he is still the
Cornette.
lawyer that's as far as I know.
Like, and that's so smart to just reach out to Stephen P. New and be like, "You want to sponsor this fucking thing too?" And the guy's like,
That's so
"Yeah, why not? Who gives a fuck?"
Because Stephen P. New is a fucking as far as I can tell in Gleam, he's a personal injury attorney.
He makes
So
tons of money.
That guy has cash, bro. Like I live
Yes.
in LA. LA is the land of you. Are you a personal injury attorney? I am. Come get 11 billboards. And like when you think about that, like there is like 3 different lawyers that have billboards all over this city. And I'm like, okay, let's say if they're even $1,000 a week for these billboards, the amount of them, it's like this guy's spending $100,000 on fucking advertising in a fucking month, and he's not, and they're way more than $1,000 for these billboards, I'm assuming. So it's just like, holy shit, like it's so smart. Also, MLW is quietly doing a really smart thing in that I have no idea who any of the wrestlers are in Major League Wrestling, but I know Major League Wrestling is a thing. Like that's the weird thing if
Well,
I
and
pop
they
it
have
on,
a great
you're like,
they have a
"No
great
way."
fucking they have a great intro because they also stopped and started again, so they're fresh, but also they've been around for a long time. So their intro is like Dusty Rhodes, Joey Styles, and then like all these other guys who are like, oh, these guys are, but they have old tapes of like fucking Dusty Rhodes in MLW and fucking Harley Race in MLW and all this shit. But yeah, man, I mean, Alex Hammerstones just answers the question: what if steroids did more steroids? I think they're
That's cool.
I think their champ is like is one of the Samoans, but looks exactly like Umaga, like one of those dudes, just like, and like can do a fucking cartwheel to the outside of the ring, and it's like, how come? That's the thing wrestling companies or some of these wrestling companies must do great, which is like, yeah, all these other guys whatever, but like these 3 guys we have on contract, because if they're on the show, then we have continuity. You kind of learn that from ECW, where it's like, as long as Tommy Dreamer's here, this is still ECW. We just need like 4 guys, and then it's ECW.
You know what's interesting about the WWE is the WWE is one of those companies that has been able to avoid that. Like you will always think Ric Flair is NWA and WCW, but like the WWE has built, there's enough guys where it's like, you always will think of Cena, you will always think of The Rock, you will always think of Austin, you will always think of the Ultimate Warrior, always think of Hulk Hogan, you will always think of like Honky Tonk Man. Like there's so many, like the WWF has branded so many guys. Like even if you're watching other wrestling, you watch Impact and you see Christian, and you're like, the WWE used to be good. You know what I mean? Like you watch fucking AEW and you're like, there's John Moxley, and I was like, man, I like the Shield, like Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Moxley. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, smart branding. But and it's the same thing with
and people do buy into it. Like no one does what Vince does, which is like sometimes. And this is not anything anyone will. And obviously, you're on a new TV show. You're a new character. You don't then make that actor a loser. But like, if it is sports, which is wrestling's fake sports, and it's weird that we all know it's fake, and it's still like, just fucking have Zack Ryder come in, and then like a guy who loses all the time kicks Zack Ryder's ass, and you're like, yeah, man, because he's fucking doesn't have what it takes. He's
Dylan, here's the final question for you of this
Ooh.
a chat episode of the Wrestler Review.
Mm-hmm.
How big of a super spreader event was Matt Caradona and Chelsea Green's wedding? This has been discussed a lot of my who brought it up? Someone brought it up on my Twitch stream. the
How
other
big
day
of a
about that
super
test.
spreader event? I don't know.
And they by the way they wrote that and they went, people are already posting that they tested positive, and I was like, oh, everyone got COVID at that wedding. The
mean, this
Game Changer
Omicron
Wrestling
is
is
a
now
dope.
called Game COVID Wrestling. Oh yeah, Omicron.
It is funny how like
By
you
the
know,
way, you
people
can
in the wrestling
tell.
sphere. I mean,
You can
at
tell
least-
when
yeah.
Dylan and I are in places that have been locked down because, man, do there start to be more Patreon episodes of this program. Like, as soon as we go into how do you know there's a lockdown? Well, Ontario's gone back into gray
Hey,
zone.
we just do chats now. Why? Because I might be going insane inside my house.
Yeah, it's either Dylan talks to me or fights his entire family, and we've decided he'll just talk to me. Yeah.
Or a baby spits in my face. These are the two
Yeah.
things that could happen. Oh yeah, buddy. But what was it? Super spreader event? Yeah, I mean, it's so funny to me that AEW's the woke one, but they have blood, which is like, hey, listen, we are absolutely on.
that's
We are on
so
the
fucking
side
funny.
of the LGBTQ movement and Black Lives Matter. But as far as the pandemic goes, Cody Rhodes has got a bucket of his own blood, and he's going to be shoving it into the fans' mouths.
Yeah.
Because we're
I don't-
fucking wrestling, people fucking cut themselves, and if you get COVID, that means fucking that's sick.
Yeah. Basically, AEW is Joe Rogan woke. Yeah. As long as I don't know the trans person, that's okay. The vaccine is bullshit. Black
Yeah.
people are fine.
The 90s gay movement is where the trans movement is. Yeah, I'm okay if someone's trans, but not trans like at me. Remember those
Yeah,
people?
yeah.
Yeah,
As long
I'm
as
okay
they're
if someone's gay, but not like gay like
as long as they're in
at
some sort of
all.
building they cannot escape from and no one can go into. Like, I don't know if we have a word for that. Is there a word for those buildings?
I'm okay with trans people, but I would like to use this analogy. I'm Macho Man and they're Miss Elizabeth. So if I could lock them inside their house where they can't leave, I'm fine with them.
Yeah, I like trans people in the way that Macho Man liked Miss Elizabeth. Very happy when they die of a pill overdose.
I just think if you get all right, it's okay. It's just if you get gender reassignment surgery, you should lose your right to vote.
Yeah. I mean, here's the best part of that joke is I couldn't tell what he was going to lose the right to, but I knew it was going to be something you shouldn't lose the right to. That's why that joke was funny. Dylan, what was the best part of this chat episode of the rest of the
You're
review?
just in autopilot? What was the best part of this?
Yeah.
No, one thing we should talk about is the Royal Rumble. Do you give a shit about it? Because I think it's the last thing in WWE that I
Yes, I
truly
always
care
give
about.
a shit about it. I will be in Florida for it. And
Whoa.
I'll be doing a show, and I will watch it immediately after that show is done. As soon as that show is done, Peacock on, Royal Rumble watched, weed smoked using my eyes.
Man, smoking weed and watching wrestling, I have done it a couple times.
Buddy,
but
it's all
every
of it.
time I
I'm
smoke
going,
weed and watch wrestling, I go, "Yo, this is dumb." Then I watch something else.
buddy. I have been going through the WCW pay-per-views in order, like they are seasons.
Ooh.
I'm going currently through Slamboree. I started with Fall Brawl and had to jump off because Fall Brawl starts so bad and never is good. Like you can just tell they were like, we're doing a house show today, and they're like, no, it's Fall Brawl. I was like, fuck.
My favorite things are, and this would happen was they had this contract, I guess, to make all these made-for-TV movies with Hulk Hogan. But then when they turned Hulk Hogan heel in the NWO, Tony Schiavone had to be like, Hulk Hogan is the most evil man, and he's trying to destroy WCW. But man, does Boat Murderer look like a good movie?
Oh my god. They literally did there was a bunch of, I think it's called The President's Man or something like that. It's like him and-
President's Man.
I'm looking it up right now. It's like Hulk Hogan and Carl.
Just so you know, in my mind, that's Joanna Man, but with the presidency and a lady. So it's like no one knows that Sheryl Crow. I don't know why it's Sheryl Crow. It's Sheryl
Assault
Crow's
on
actually not.
Devil's Island. It was
Ooh,
one
Devil's
of them.
Island. So the devil
Yeah,
lives
yeah,
on an
yeah.
island.
The Shadow Warriors. Assault on Devil's Island.
Ooh, the
Directed
Shadow
by-
Warriors.
Yeah.
I
Carl
like
Weathers,
when you have
Hulk
5
Hogan.
ideas for a title for a movie and you just fucking use all of them.
Oh my god. He was Hulk Hogan starring as Mike McBride.
You can tell when a movie was written in 48 minutes. I listened to this whole series on Hallmark movies, and they had like some quotes from a writer who's written like an inordinate amount of Hallmark
Like
movies.
88.
Yeah, but they can't. But I've also heard other stories of people who have a lot of. So on record, the person says like, I always have them in the background because I just like writing feel good things. And then, I've heard stories of other people who've written a ton of them who go like, oh yeah, you just write a regular movie and then you literally take all the jokes out and it's just like plot point to plot point to plot point, and then it's done now.
There are 2 Shadow Warrior movies. There is one called
You know what I would really like to talk about, and I always keep forgetting to, and I want to use this as an outlet, and this is not about wrestling, John.
Devil's Island, and then the next one, and I need to stress this, is Assault on Death Mountain.
Assault on Death Mountain.
Assault on Death Mountain? Fuck. Yeah, what do you want to talk about now, Dylan?
Here's what I want to talk about. I'm going to message you something, and I want to ask you a question, okay? I just want to ask you
Where did
one
you message
question.
it to?
I haven't messaged it for you yet. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Let me give me 1 second here. I want to message you this list, and here is a list. It is a list of all the books because my mom reads Danielle Steele. Does your mother read Danielle Steele, or do you know?
She does
anyone?
not.
Okay, well your mom clearly is a moron.
Whoa.
You need to look at the amount of books that Danielle Steele has written. Okay.
Holy shit, yeah.
Okay, so 1973. Keep in mind this woman was born in 1947. So 1973 to 1977, she takes 4 years off. She writes 3 books in 1 year. Now, in the last, how many books has she written?
In 2021, she had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books come out in 2021.
Are people just writing
No.
these books and saying they're Danielle Steele, or is
100%
Danielle
what it
Steele
is
just
what
waking
she's
up?
doing. Here's what she's doing: is there's a bunch of people that write them for her, and then they are paid a nominal fee, and then she's paid a fuckload to put her name on it. Like if you looked at it, it'll be like deep in the acknowledgments, it'll be like and additional idea credit by Rumpy Pumpy. But if you're like, oh, that means Rumpy Pumpy wrote the book, and Danielle Steele was like, good.
Is this a common practice?
Yeah, it's like one of those things where like there's a couple of super big artists that literally pay 4 other artists to
Like,
do all the
okay,
art, and
let's
then
say
they are
this.
like, all right, it's mine.
How long has 2022 been
A year, 12 days. It's been a year
Okay.
for 12 days,
How
and
many
she already
books?
has 11
5
books coming out.
She
She already
has
has
5 books.
five books coming out.
Danielle Steele's a fucking. I hope she's just like no editing.
Do you know how she's
Okay, so the
Dylan-
whole book, this
Dylan.
guy's name is Steve, and then now it's Randy. Are you gonna print it? Because these bitches gonna buy it. Okay, Danielle, stop standing up.
Dylan, how did Danielle Steele celebrate Brexit and the election of Donald Trump in 2016?
How did she sell?
How did she celebrate it?
She
She released 6
partied.
books. That's how she fucking celebrated. She released 6 books. 2015, she only released 5. But then 2017, this motherfucker
Oh
went
yeah,
nuts
because
and
she was
released
so happy
7
because
books.
of Brexit and Donald Trump.
Of
She
course.
fucking released 7 books, and their names are good. The Duchess, The Right Time, Fairy Tale, Past Perfect. I want some people here. If you're
That's
watching this, if
2017,
you're
you dumb
dedicated,
bitch. That's 2017. In 2016,
sorry.
she released Blue. That's how you're going to feel because you're a bunch of lib cucks. Property of a Noblewoman. That is all men's penises. She is the noblewoman. The
Mhm.
Apartment. That's where Hillary Clinton's going to live because she no longer can afford a house because she's just been cucked by MAGA. Magic. The description of Donald Trump's speaking abilities. Rushing Waters. What your pussy's going to be like when you get a look at the new president. And the Award. What we're all given now that we have embraced the tenets of neoconservatism.
I want to see a picture of Danielle Steele in 2022 or 2021. I guarantee it's just a woman on a respirator,
Yeah. She's been dead since the 70s.
and they're all just porn too. Like all these books are porn.
Yeah. It's
This
porn
should- this
for
bears
Bear in
mentioning.
mind, you telling us your mom likes Danielle Steele is letting us all know your mom is reading that book, then looking at your stepdad and going, "You want to fill me?"
No, she has 9 children, by the way.
Who? Your mom?
No, Danielle Steele, 74-year-old woman, 9
Yeah.
children.
Oh, she likes to get. Yeah, you're not reading that much thirsty fucking literature if you don't like getting your puss filled.
She's written 185 books.
Yeah, and all of them are about how she wants her vagina to look like a overly filled pint glass. I really hope that your child just walked
Oh,
in the
and
room
by the
for my
way,
horrific description.
25 movies.
Oh yeah. Dylan.
Oh, you guys, wait a minute. Oh, you think who tweet 3 times a day are productive?
Yeah, you
Danielle
don't know
Steele just wrote a
shit.
book about a tweet.
Yeah,
She'll see
and
one
that
tweet
book,
and write a
and
book
do you know what
about
that
it.
book is, Dylan? What's that book called?
The Pounder.
Oh, we're ending it there, ladies and
You
gentlemen.
think that
you are-
toward the end of the 184 books, she'd lose the fucking? She'd
No,
just be
no,
like,
no. She gets
Rim
more.
guy,
Yeah.
plowman
This is
of my
from
ass.
Daniel's her 185th book from Daniel Steele. The cock is baby.
Entering my mouth.
Yeah. Lick my asshole and tell me it's my pussy. Yeah.
Wet sack. Didn't sell that well.
Fat loads eyeball.
Tub full of goo. Danielle Steele's final novel.
Yeah. Sticky jar from Daniel Steele.
All right, Danielle Steele podcast officially every week we read a Danielle
Ladies and
Steele
gentlemen,
book.
please join us here for the Daniel Steele review.
You could
very
literally
similar.
do a podcast that was just reading a Danielle Steele book, and then at the end just fucking.
Oh my god, when you proposed that, I just heard someone throw up in Dylan's house.
That was
Ladies
my
and
son.
gentlemen-
My son's right there.
Oh, Dylan's son just threw up?
He just woke up from a nap. Yeah.
Time to throw up.
Well, he's laughing because he recognizes that's how he was conceived. Me and my wife sat next to each other reading a complete Danielle Steele novel. No, she read Nora Roberts, and I read
Yeah.
Danielle Steele, and that's what gets us in the move.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. Everyone knows
He's,
that Dylan.
he's literally laughing at all these things. He understands Danielle
Yeah,
Steele.
of course he does. Well, you. Oh man, Dylan's son is the greatest. He is of all the cum monkeys. He is the cum orangutan.
He's a literal one.
He certainly is.
All right.
Dylan, we're gonna end this. I fucking no plugs. All
Next
of you.
week, Nora Roberts. An exploration of Nora Roberts.
Yeah, next week here on the Patreon, no more wrestling chat. Now we're only talking
I'd
about.
say this
thirsty
podcast has been
fiction.
circling around reading erotica meant for
Of
baby
course.
boomer moms for quite a while.
Yeah. We are going through all the Danielle Steele's oeuvre, and then after that, 50 Shades of Grey, red shirtless.
No,
while
not
we're
50
both
Shades of
very
Grey. That's
wet.
too much. That's too explicit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nora
and then the
Roberts?
pirate took both treasures. We're reading books
Yeah.
like that.
Oh yes, of course. And then she got her reward from his peen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
For
let's
the
write
rest
some
of you.
erotica too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, we should. Wrestling themed erotica.
Ooh.
Vince unclasped his trousers and revealed his throbbing man.
2 nails.
To
That's how it really happened.
Oh
Non-fiction
my-
book.
Exactly. Yeah, Bruce Pritchard realized the only way he could get out of bringing his gun to the office is shoving it up his own hole. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.